I'm Dr. Elena Martinez, though most of my husband's family still calls me the nurse. Not that there's anything wrong with being a nurse, it's a noble profession. But the way they say it, dripping with condescension, makes their intent clear. From the moment I married Michael Romano 5 years ago, his family made it their mission to remind me that I didn't belong in their prestigious medical dynasty. The Romanos had produced 4 generations of renowned surgeons, and to them my work in emergency medicine might as well have been a hobby. Elena, dear, my mother-in-law Catherine would say at family gatherings, when are you going to specialize in something more substantial? She emphasized the last words while sipping her wine, her perfect manicure tapping against the crystal glass. I met Michael during my residency at Central Memorial Hospital. He was the charming neurosurgeon who kept accidentally running into me in the cafeteria. Despite our different backgrounds, him from old money, me from a working-class immigrant family, we connected over our shared passion for medicine. You're different, he told me on our first date. You actually care about the patients, not just the procedures. What neither Michael nor his family knew was that I'd been quietly building my own medical empire. Years before meeting Michael, I developed a revolutionary emergency triage AI system. I sold it to a major healthcare company for millions, but kept my involvement anonymous. I wanted to succeed on my own merits, not my bank account. I continued working regular shifts in the ER, investing my wealth strategically in healthcare startups and medical facilities. By the time I met Michael, I owned significant shares in 3 major hospitals on the East Coast. Elena, could you grab me some more ice? My sister-in-law, Amanda's voice cut through my thoughts at today's family BBQ. She didn't even look up from her phone. Amanda, I'm not waiting staff, I replied calmly. She looked up, perfectly sculpted eyebrows raised. Oh right, sorry, sometimes I forget you're a doctor now. She made air quotes around the word doctor. Michael, manning the grill nearby, pretended not to hear. That was his way, avoiding conflict by becoming suddenly fascinated with cooking temperatures or his phone screen. Speaking of which, Catherine chimed in, settling into her favorite topic, my inadequacies. Elena dear, I heard Central Memorial is looking for a new owner. The board's selling majority shares. Shame you're not in a position to participate in such opportunities. I took a sip of water, hiding my smile. If only they knew I was already the anonymous bidder the board had approved last week. Mom, Michael warned half-heartedly, let's not talk business today. Why not? Amanda jumped in. We're all family here. Well, most of us. She smirked in my direction. Besides, it's not like Elena understands these things. She's busy with her little ER shifts. I noticed my father-in-law, Richard, watching the exchange with poorly concealed amusement. As chief of surgery at Central Memorial, he'd been particularly vocal about keeping the hospital in capable hands. Actually, I said quietly, I find hospital administration fascinating. Oh honey, Catherine's laugh tinkled like ice in a glass. These matters require extensive business knowledge, years of connections, understanding of complex healthcare systems. She patted my hand condescendingly. Why don't you help Amanda with the salad? Before I could respond, Michael's phone buzzed. Emergency board meeting, he announced, checking the message. Dad, Amanda, you too. On a Sunday, Amanda complained. She was a dermatologist at Central Memorial, riding on her father's coattails. Can't they handle anything without us? Apparently not, Richard said, already standing. Catherine will be back in an hour. Elena, he paused, as if searching for something to say. Perhaps you could clear the tables while we're gone. I watched them pile into their luxury cars, Michael throwing me an apologetic glance. He'd been doing that a lot lately, apologizing with his eyes while staying silent with his voice. What they didn't know was that I called the emergency board meeting. In exactly 47 minutes, they'd learned that their precious hospital had a new owner, one who remembered every dismissive comment, every condescending smile, and every moment they treated me like the help instead of family. Elena, Catherine called from the patio. While they're handling important matters, why don't you tell me about your latest ER adventure? Something simple I can understand. I checked my watch and smiled. Actually, Catherine, I should head to the hospital too. I have some important matters of my own to handle. She laughed, that familiar patronizing sound. Oh, did they finally put you on a real committee? Something like that, I replied, gathering my things. You'll hear all about it soon. As I drove to Central Memorial, I thought about the journey that led me here. My parents had immigrated with nothing but hope and determination. They'd worked multiple jobs to put me through medical school, teaching me that true worth isn't in titles or family names, but in how you treat people. I pulled into my reserved parking space, the one marked reserved for hospital administration, that I'd been secretly using for weeks. In my rearview mirror, I saw Richard's Mercedes pull in, followed by Amanda's Range Rover and Michael's BMW. The time for hiding was over. I straightened my blazer, checked my reflection, and headed for the boardroom. Years of dismissal and degradation were about to end in one spectacular moment of revelation. I pulled out my phone and sent a quick text to Mr. Davidson, the board chairman. "I'm ready." The response came immediately. "Board is assembled. Your stage is set, Dr. Martinez." Taking a deep breath, I walked toward the boardroom, my heels clicking purposefully on the polished floor. Through the glass walls, I could see them all settling into their seats, my husband's family sitting together, as always. None of them noticed me standing outside. They never did. But they were about to. The boardroom fell silent as Mr. Davidson stood at the head of the table. Through the glass, I watched my in-laws exchange confident glances. They had no idea what was coming. "Thank you all for coming on such short notice," Mr. Davidson began, his voice carrying the weight of 2 months of careful planning. "As you know, Central Memorial has been seeking new ownership. Today, I'm pleased to announce that the board has unanimously approved a buyer." Richard straightened in his chair. "Charles, I thought we agreed to postpone any decisions until—" "The decision has been made, Dr. Romano," Mr. Davidson cut in smoothly. "In fact, the new owner is here to address the board." That was my cue. I pushed open the heavy glass doors and walked in. The look of confusion on their faces was priceless. "Elena?" Michael half rose from his chair. "What are you doing here? This is a confidential meeting." Catherine's perfectly lined lips curved into a dismissive smile. "Dear, perhaps you misunderstood. This is an executive board meeting, not an ER consultation." "No misunderstanding, Catherine." I moved to stand beside Mr. Davidson. "I'm exactly where I should be." Amanda snorted. "What? Did they need a nurse's perspective?" Mr. Davidson cleared his throat. "Allow me to introduce Dr. Elena Martinez, the new majority shareholder and owner of Central Memorial Hospital." The silence that followed was deafening. Richard's face turned an alarming shade of red. Amanda's mouth hung open, her carefully applied lipstick suddenly seeming garish. And Michael, my husband, stared at me like he'd never seen me before. Catherine recovered first. "This is absurd. Charles, surely you can't be serious. She's just a doctor?" I supplied. "An immigrant's daughter, or perhaps you were going to say the help." "Elena," Richard's voice held a warning tone. "Whatever game you're playing." "This isn't a game, Richard." I picked up the folder Mr. Davidson handed me. "These are the transfer documents already approved by the board. I now own 67% of Central Memorial's shares." "Impossible," Amanda sputtered. "You couldn't afford." "Actually," I interrupted, "I could. You see, while you were all busy reminding me of my place, I was building something of my own. That Triage AI system the hospital implemented last year, the one that reduced ER wait times by 40%. I developed that. Sold it for 8 figures. Michael's face paled. "Why didn't you tell me? Would it have made a difference?" I met his eyes. "Would you have stood up for me at family dinners? Defended me when your sister called me the help? When your mother suggested I take serving courses to be more useful at family gatherings?" The board members shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Most of them had witnessed the Romano family's treatment of me over the years. "As of today," I continued, "there will be changes. First, all hiring and promotion decisions will be based on merit, not family connections." I looked pointedly at Amanda, who shrank in her seat. "You can't do this." Catherine stood up, her voice shrill. "This hospital has been in our family's sphere for generations." "Exactly," I smiled. "And that's the problem. Central Memorial has been running on nepotism instead of merit. Our patient satisfaction scores have dropped 15% in the past 3 years. Staff turnover in non-Romano supervised departments is twice the national average." I pulled out another document, which brings me to my next point. "Richard, your position as chief of surgery is under review." "Under review?" He slammed his hand on the table. "I built this department, and under your leadership, surgical error rates have increased by 12%. Coincidentally, that increase began when you started fast-tracking Amanda's friends into residency positions." Amanda's face flushed. "You vindictive bit." "Dr. Romano," Mr. Davidson cut in sharply, "remember where you are." I continued as if there hadn't been an interruption. All current positions will be evaluated based on performance metrics. Those who meet our new standards will keep their roles. Those who don't, I let the sentence hang. Michael finally found his voice. Elena, these are your in-laws. Your family. Family? I laughed softly. Let's talk about family, Michael. Last Christmas, your mother seated me at the children's table because medical professionals of my status shouldn't mix with their surgeon guests. Last month, your sister told the new residents I was the cleaning staff. And you? I met his gaze. You watched it all and said nothing. The boardroom was so quiet you could hear the air conditioning hum. Dr. Martinez, one of the board members, spoke up. What changes should we expect? I straightened my spine. Central Memorial will become a hospital where every employee is valued based on their contributions, not their last name. Where patients receive care from the most qualified professionals, not just the best connected ones. Where innovation is rewarded, regardless of who suggests it. Richard stood up, his chair scraping loudly. This is ridiculous. I'll fight this. You're welcome to try, I replied calmly. But I should mention, I've been documenting everything. Every discriminatory comment, every questionable hiring decision, every patient complaint that was swept under the rug. Would you like that information to become public? He sank back into his chair. Catherine's voice turned sugary sweet. Alana, dear, surely we can discuss this as a family, perhaps over dinner. I'm sure we can come to an understanding. The time for family discussions was years ago, Catherine. Now it's just business. I turned to Mr. Davidson. Please distribute the new organizational charts and policy documents. As papers were passed around, I watched my in-laws' faces. Amanda was texting furiously, probably calling her lawyer. Richard stared at the documents like they might bite him. Catherine's perfect makeup couldn't hide her growing panic. And Michael, my husband, sat there, looking lost, finally understanding what his silence had cost him. One more thing, I added. Effective immediately, all Romano family members will report directly to the board, not to each other. No more covering up mistakes, no more preferential treatment. This is how you repay us. Catherine's voice cracked. After we welcome you into our family, I met her gaze steadily. No, Catherine. This is how I fix a broken system. How I ensure that other talented professionals don't face the discrimination I did. How I make sure patients get the best care, not just care from the right family. The meeting is adjourned, Mr. Davidson announced. Dr. Martinez, would you like to address the staff? Yes, I gathered my papers. I believe it's time they met their new boss properly. As the board members filed out, Michael approached me. Elena, we need to talk about this. Yes, we do, I agreed. But not here. Not now. Right now, I have a hospital to run. I walked out of the boardroom, leaving my stunned in-laws behind. The click of my heels echoed through the corridor, each step taking me further from the person they thought I was and closer to the leader I'd become. Through the glass walls, I could see Catherine crying into her designer handkerchief, Richard making angry phone calls, and Amanda still furiously texting. But for the first time since I'd married into their family, their drama wasn't my concern. I had work to do. The next few weeks at Central Memorial were a whirlwind of change. Word of the new ownership spread quickly, along with stories of the dramatic board meeting. I heard whispers in the hallways, saw surprised looks from staff who had previously ignored me, and received countless emails from employees sharing their own experiences of discrimination. I moved into the CEO's office but kept my regular ER shifts. Unlike my predecessors, I believed hospital administration should understand frontline operations. One morning, while reviewing department reports, my assistant buzzed in. Dr. Martinez? Mrs. Romano is here to see you. I knew this confrontation was coming. Sent her in. Catherine swept into my office, looking immaculate as always, but the designer bags under her eyes betrayed her stress. Elena, she began, smoothing her skirt as she sat down uninvited. We need to discuss this situation. What situation will that be? I continued reviewing reports. Don't play coy. You're destroying our family. Richard hasn't slept in days. Amanda's reputation is ruined, and Michael. Her voice cracked slightly. He's staying at a hotel. I finally looked up. Catherine, did you ever consider that you destroyed this family long ago? When you decided some people were worthy of respect and others weren't. We gave you everything, she snapped. A place in our family, connections, opportunities. No, I cut her off. You gave me conditions, rules, expectations to fail. You never once saw me as family. I was the help who somehow trapped your son. Because you lied. All this time, hiding your wealth, pretending to be something you're not. I never lied, I corrected her. I just didn't announce my success. I wanted to be accepted for who I was, not what I had. And now, she demanded, is this your revenge? Taking over our hospital? This isn't revenge, Catherine, it's reform. Have you seen our patient satisfaction scores this week? Up 22%. Staff morale? Improved 35%. Turns out, when you hire based on merit instead of last names, things actually work better. She shifted uncomfortably. Richard is considering legal action. For what? I bought the shares legally. The board approved everything. Or is he planning to sue because I'm enforcing standard medical protocols? I handed her a folder. Here's your husband's surgical error rate report. Would he like this to become public? Catherine's hands trembled as she took the folder. What do you want? I want what I've always wanted, to run an excellent hospital and be respected for my work. I leaned back. The question is, what do you want? To fight a losing battle, or to adapt and maintain your position? What position? You're reviewing all our roles. Yes, based on merit. If you meet the standards, you keep your jobs. Simple as that. Just then, my phone buzzed. A text from Michael. Can we talk? Catherine noticed my expression change. Is that my son? Elena, please. Whatever issues you have with us, don't punish him. Punish him? I laughed softly. Catherine, your son punished himself. Every time he stayed silent, every time he chose comfort over courage, he damaged our marriage. This isn't about punishment. It's about consequences. After Catherine left, I found myself thinking about Michael. We hadn't spoken properly since the board meeting. He'd moved out, saying he needed space to think. That evening, as I was leaving the hospital, I found him waiting by my car. Nice parking spot, he said quietly. It came with the job. Elena. He ran a hand through his hair, a gesture I once found endearing. Why did he tell me? Would it have changed anything? I asked. Would you have stood up to your family? Found your voice? I was trying to keep the peace. No, Michael, you were choosing the easy path, just like you always did. He stepped closer. I love you. Love isn't enough, I replied. Respect, support, courage, those matter too. Where were those when your sister called me the help? When your mother seated me with the children? When your father dismissed my medical opinions? I can change, he whispered. Maybe you can, but not for me. Not for us. I unlocked my car. Change because you want to be better, Michael. Because you're tired of being a coward. Over the next few months, Central Memorial transformed. Richard stepped down as chief of surgery, replaced by a brilliant surgeon from Johns Hopkins. Amanda transferred to a private practice, unable to meet the new performance standards. Catherine stopped attending hospital functions. Michael filed for divorce. The papers cited irreconcilable differences, but we both knew the truth. The difference was I finally reconciled with my worth. 1 year later, I stood at the podium during Central Memorial's annual gala. The hospital had just been ranked among the top 10 in the country. Success in healthcare isn't about family names or traditions, I told the assembled crowd. It's about dedication, innovation, and putting patients first. Everyone deserves respect, regardless of their title or background. In the audience, I spotted Catherine and Richard. They'd finally accepted the new reality, choosing to adapt rather than fight. Michael had moved to Boston, starting fresh. Amanda had found success in her private practice, where her name carried less weight but her work spoke for itself. As for me, I expanded my healthcare network, acquiring 2 more hospitals and implementing the same merit-based systems. My parents attended the gala as guests of honor, their proud smiles worth more than any hospital empire. Later that night, alone in my office, I found an old family photo from my first Christmas with the Romanos. In it, I sat apart from the group, trying to smile while they clustered together. I pinned it to my bulletin board, not as a reminder of pain, but as a testament to growth. Sometimes the greatest revenge isn't in destroying others, but in building yourself up so high that their opinions no longer matter. The following week, during my regular ER shift, a young resident approached me. Dr. Martinez? She seemed nervous. I have an idea for improving our triage system. Tell me more. I smiled, remembering how it felt to be dismissed. Really? Her eyes lit up. But I'm just a first-year resident. There's no such thing as just anything here, I told her. At Central Memorial, we value ideas, not titles. As I listened to her proposal, I realized that true success isn't measured in wealth or power, but in the changes we inspire in others. Every time someone feels valued for their work, heard for their ideas, or respected for their contributions, that's a victory. The hospital continues to thrive, not because of a family name, but because of the dedicated professionals who now know their worth isn't determined by their connections, but by their contributions. And me, I found something better than revenge. I found purpose. Sometimes the best response to those who try to diminish you isn't to prove them wrong. It's to rise so high that their opinions become irrelevant. That's not just success. That's justice.